Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and welcome back to Black American Lineage. Thank you for your support, and thank you for going on this journey through our past and present. Today, I want to talk about Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, an outstanding Black American who changed the way we look at ourselves. At every juncture in our journey here in the United States of America, there has been someone who has come on the scene to kind of clear things up for us, give us inspiration and motivation for the journey that we're on, because we have been under attack since we've been here. Not as good as. You can just fill in the blank of whatever it is that somebody has come up with, and they're going to say that Black people are not as good as. So Dr. Welsing really was a bright light who was brilliant, she was committed, and she stood on business, which is what's popular to say today. She stood on business. My first encounter with Dr. Welsing was back in the 80s on the Phil Donahue show when she was debating this white doctor named William Shockley. Dr. Shockley was trying to prove that white people were intellectually superior to Black people. So he and Dr. Welsing, actually they had a running thing going, because I think they debated several times. And Dr. Welsing stood on business, and she came with the facts. And Dr. Shockley, who was not trained in genetics, was just up spewing a lot of white supremacist talking points about white people being intellectually and genetically superior to Black people. And when Dr. Welsing shot his theories down, he resorted to, well, I'm white and I say so. That's what it really came down to. So they were interesting to watch, though, because it was the first time that I had seen a Black person, a Black woman, debating a white person on television and standing her ground to the point that even the audience knew that he didn't know what he was talking about. But he stood firm. He stood firm because he truly believed, as white people normally do, that they're intellectually and genetically superior to Black people. But now, they are facing genetic annihilation as what Dr. Welsing warned them about, that they were afraid of. If you're so genetically and intellectually superior, you ought to figure out how to overcome this low birth rate situation that you're in now. But anyway, back to Dr. Welsing. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing was a pioneering psychiatrist and race theorist, best known for her controversial work on white supremacy and melanin theory. She was born on March 18, 1935. Her career was rooted in psychiatry, but she became widely known for her provocative theories on race and racism. Yes, she did. In 1970, she published an essay called The Cress Theory of Color, Confrontation, and Racism. In this essay, she proposed that white supremacy stems from a psychological fear of genetic annihilation due to the recessive nature of white skin compared to melanin-rich skin. She argued that this fear drives global systems of oppression. And that is what she argued with Dr. Shockley, that the bottom line problem was that white people feared genetic annihilation because Black genes are dominant and white genes are recessive. So the dominant genes can basically wipe out the recessive genes. And that's what we're seeing now. That's what we're seeing. In 1991, she published the ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors. This is her most famous book, and it's a compilation of essays expanding on her theory, and it explores how racism manifests in various domains: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. She claimed that these systems are structured to ensure white genetic survival. Now, we know that's true because we see it in economics with the wealth gap between Black and white people, something that keeps us under stress, under control, and constantly striving, but it keeps them ahead of us. In the educational system, we know that it is not a fair system. That is where we get the school to prison pipeline. In entertainment, we see that black entertainers are not paid a fair wage comparable to what white people are being paid. In labor, we know that there is job discrimination. 300,000 black women just fired or laid off from their jobs for no particular reason. We see it in law, in the unfair justice system, politics, about the elections, religion, and everything. Everything we can see the hand of racism. And Dr. Welsing says all of this is done to ensure that white people will survive. There's a lot that they do trying to survive. Dr. Welsing emphasized the importance of strong black family units as a countermeasure to systemic racism. She believed that understanding and confronting racism required psychological insight and cultural unity. And so that's why we feel like the black family has been under attack because of what she said in this book. Our survival is in strong black family units and in black unity. So Dr. Welsing has given us a new way of looking at why white people move in the world the way they do. It's because they are trying to survive. And that is why I say she changed the way that we look at ourselves. It's not because we're inferior. It's not because everybody else is better than we are. It's because these people are trying to survive. Strong family units is what we need. But the black family has also been under attack. So it is important for us to know why these things are happening. Dr. Welsing was revered by many in the Black consciousness movement and often referred to as the Queen Mother of Black consciousness. Yes, she was. However, her theories, especially those involving genetics and melanin, have been criticized as pseudoscientific and racially divisive by mainstream scholars. That means white scholars. So, yes, they would criticize that because they don't want anybody to tell the truth about why and how they're operating. Despite the controversy, her work remains influential in discussions about race, identity, and systemic oppression. She challenged conventional psychiatric approaches by centering racism as a global psychological phenomenon. Yes, she did. So this is just a biographical sketch of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and how she actually changed the way we look at ourselves by focusing on why people are doing the things that they do. It helps us to process information better when we know this is why these people are doing this. It's not because I'm this or I'm not that. That ought to give us a new perspective on who we are and how we interact and deal with the system. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about this. Thank you for listening and have a good evening.